Hi everyone, my name's Tayla. I'm the founder and CEO of Nurturing Families, and I just want to talk a little bit about my journey and how I got to where I am today, so stay tuned. For as long as I can remember, I've always been very entrepreneurial minded, and honestly I think it stems from my parents and also seeing loved ones around me running businesses. I constantly tried to come up with these business ideas, but even before then I grew up in an environment where I had everything I needed. I never ever went without, and I was very aware of that on a constant basis as well. I think I was just a very aware child and knew that I was lucky to have what I had. So yeah, basically I had run a project essentially. So we had some family friends from church who had organised a container to be sent to the Philippines. The Philippines had a massive typhoon and it essentially wiped out many of their villages and left people and their livelihoods really struggling. So we had a family friend who had organised a container to be sent there. I didn't know the details, I just wanted to help as much as I possibly could. So jumped on Facebook, organised with my family to have around 2 van loads from top to bottom, which was massive back in the day. I now look at van loads and we get those, on a weekly basis, daily basis. So to me it doesn't seem like a big deal, but at 12 being able to, facilitate and run a program that essentially meant that we were cleaning and sorting and packing for quite a number of weeks while we tried to get all of the stuff packaged. And there's photos online with everything in the boxes, and we labeled them and put smiley faces, and everything was thought out really well. So I think I had a passion from this moment to help people because I felt how good it felt. I then was like, I really like helping. How can I do something else to be able to help people? So I started collecting pajamas for Starship. Starship here is a hospital in Auckland. So anyways, I was like, I'll think about the sick children, what could I try and gather that's going to make them a little bit happier? And pajamas seemed to come to mind because it was something that we all deserve. So I did that for a little bit. I think I gathered 380 something pairs of pajamas over a couple of months, which is amazing and so incredible. So yeah, did that, and then obviously because I was so young, I was 12 at the time, I don't exactly remember how Mummies in Need came about. But I do know that there was a child in the middle of a supermarket, and he basically had a bodysuit on, and a bodysuit basically looks like this. So there's nothing to cover their little arms and nothing to cover their little legs, and they're pretty thin. So yeah, warmth is not a factor with a bodysuit. Basically he was wearing that, I was wearing my fluffy pink tracksuit with sneakers and shoes on, and was very lucky to be warm in the moment. So I had a chat with Mum and I asked her why he didn't have clothes on. And she basically said something, and I'll never forget it, but she said, well, some people aren't as lucky as you, Tayla. And I think having the childhood I had where I was very aware that I was so lucky to have what I had, and so blessed to just be able to have clothes and a roof and food in my stomach and never go hungry. Knowing all of that, I jumped on Facebook, I launched Mummies in Need. I spelt the name wrong, and I started telling people I was collecting baby items because I never wanted to see another child go without. I did it all throughout my intermediate and all throughout high school, just in between, a part-time job and all of my school extracurricular things, and, just, I suppose, trying to be a young person as well. But it was something I was so passionate about, and the more that I did it, the more I was passionate about it. Back to sort of being 12, my 16-year-old sister at the time ended up falling pregnant, and she reiterated that there wasn't a lot of help out there for young people, and was also a massive driving factor behind why I continued doing what I did. And it was to make sure that people like her were provided for, because I knew that she had family support and family love, and the child was never going to go without, but there are so many people that don't have that, and I knew that, and just wanted to be a part of the reason that maybe they were clothed for or had food in their tummies a little longer. So yeah, that was the journey all throughout my schooling, I guess. I then ended up leaving school. I was the kind of person that all of my friends were very confused as to what they were going to do the rest of their life. And, you know, it's such a massive decision, and high schools especially put so much pressure on you knowing what you're going to do right then and there. And so, yeah, basically I wanted to be a lawyer because I wanted to be a voice for children, and I also, I suppose, selfishly wanted to have money, and all of the nice things in life that you sort of think about when you're, 16, and 17, 18, sort of leaving school. And so all my friends had no idea what they were going to be, and I was always that person that was like, oh, I've already got it sorted, like I'm going to be a lawyer, I want to be a voice for children because of the situations that I've seen throughout my life, And so I'd never been in a position where I didn't know what I wanted to do. I am the kind of person that plans every step of her life, and for once I had gone to university and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I really didn't enjoy it, and I ended up leaving, and for once in my life I didn't have a plan. I was stuck in this lull, and I obviously needed to go and get a job, so I went and got a job and learned some incredibly valuable lessons while I had a job. But also the biggest lesson I learned was that whatever I wanted to do in life, I wanted to be passionate about it, because we spend so long working in our lifetime, and I just think it's so silly to be doing something that you don't want to do if you have the power to be able to step outside of your comfort zone. So basically I had this charity, I had this no plan with my life, and I didn't know what I was going to do. So I went and got a full-time job and hummed and hawed over taking the charity on full-time, because at this point it was growing drastically. There was so much need in our community, and I was becoming more and more well-known throughout this as well. So basically it sort of hand in hand worked. I didn't have a plan with life and had this charity that seemed to be booming, but I never knew how I would possibly make it into a full-time job, or even something bigger than it was. It was a community online of people who cared and wanted to make sure other children didn't go without. It was never something that was huge, and I didn't really know how to take it to the next step. Basically, I had so much support around me at the time. There were days where I cried because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to take the charity on full time. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I actually ended up being like, right, Tayla, you can't have no plan. So I ended up doing the beginning process for enrolling into a Bachelor of Education, because I'd always been passionate about young people, and even from being a little girl, I always remember playing pretend schools, and so I thought, you know what, I think I'd make a really good teacher. And so I knew that if I couldn't take the charity on full time, that I had a backup option, and I'm all about backup options, because I was completely fearful and I didn't have the confidence in myself to be able to do it. My dad was probably one of the most incredible people at the time. He sat me down countless times and told me, look, Tayla, if there's a time that you're going to take this charity on full time, it's now. You're living at home, you don't have many expenses, and you have the time to be able to focus on something like this. And, there are so many people around me that when I was leaving university, they were like, what is she doing? Like, she is throwing her whole entire life away, all for what? Just because she wants to, I suppose, be happy. I just wanted to be happy, and I wasn't happy there. And I think in society we have this massive, you've just got to put up with it. If you're not happy, it doesn't matter, put up with it. It pays the bills, it puts food on the table, just be happy with it. And I think coming from the family I did, where my dad honestly told us he didn't care what we did as long as we were happy, I think that really helped in this situation, because there were so many people in my close circle that were like, what are you doing? This is crazy. And I never thought that I'd talk about this publicly, but even my own mum was very skeptical. And looking towards being a parent in, a few years, I understand that, because if my daughter had come to me with virtually no plan, but just that she wanted to run a charity that had absolutely no money and she wanted to try and make it work, I understand. It is as crazy as it sounds, I suppose. So I completely get it. But, you know, I had my dad who's so supportive, and my boyfriend at the time, he was so incredibly supportive. And then there were people like my mum who were kind of like, what is this young girl doing? You know, she's throwing away everything. And I, in that moment, felt so supported and yet so unsupported. And it led for many countless nights of crying and working out whether this was the right decision. Anyways, I ended up taking it on full time, unpaid at the time, and I did as much learning as I could. I soaked in as much information. I just wish that there was somebody out there who was able to tell me that this is how it was going to be, and that, you know, you will get through it. Because sitting here today, I'm like so proud of myself, but I also know how hard it's been to get to where I am today. You know, I have some crazy stories I could tell, and honestly, some of them probably aren't great to put online, so I don't know if I ever will. But it's been tough. It has been a really, really, really tough journey being young and being in business, and also constantly defying the odds, because nobody likes somebody who's stepping outside of their comfort zone. Nobody likes somebody who's proud and brave, and you know, everyone just wants her to be very submissive to society, and that just wasn't who I was. Anyways, I ended up like asking various people around me if they'd be interested in supporting the charity, and you know, we didn't have any money. I was doing everything I possibly could by accepting pre-loved items and giving them a new home. And it didn't really require a huge amount of money up until I was trying to be paid, I suppose. Anyways, I ended up speaking with the right woman, and she backed my vision 120%. And I'd obviously worked full time, so I'd saved up quite a lot of money, and I was down to the last, I think it was maybe $2,000 at the time. And I got a call from her, and she basically said, look, Tayla, I want to, you know, provide you a grant to be able to pay yourself so that you can do your passion and help people. And it just, honestly, it went from there, and then all of a sudden we were moving into a building about a year later after working out of storage units, and then I was, you know, employing my first person, and I was creating a sublet charity because I worked out that I was passionate about that. And honestly, it's just, you know, snowballed and skyrocketed, and I honestly believe if you're passionate about something and you work hard, then you can get somewhere. That was a little bit about my journey and how I suppose I had the courage to take it on full time. And you know, it wasn't me that backed myself 100%. I didn't have the confidence in myself. It was external factors who said, you know, Tayla, you really can do this. Like, don't be afraid of it. And I think each day that I was afraid that I was going to be able to pay the bills, whether it be the operational ones here or, you know, my personal ones, it just seemed to work out. Everything seemed to feel like it was meant to be, and I just never stopped. I kept on going. And like, I wake up every single day and I'm so passionate. I love my job and I love everything about it. And I just want everybody else to feel the same way. I want everybody to wake up and it not to feel like work. Don't get me wrong, there are days where I feel like I'm working so hard and, you know, things feel like they're not going my way. But overall, I feel like I have the most incredible job on the planet. You know, there is no better job than helping people and being able to grow a community of people who are also passionate about helping people. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed my story. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an Instagram message or comment down below. I'd love to break things down a little bit more over some more videos. I want to talk a bit about confidence and how to build that over time as well. So yeah, there's so many things that I want to do and show you, and I'm really hoping that this is the space that you love to come, because you know, it's just a space on the internet where I'm not selling you pointless stuff. I'm just trying to make you live a life that you are happy in, basically. And it's as easy as that. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. If you want to watch more videos, then please consider subscribing. So yeah, thanks so much everybody, and I'll see you soon. Bye!